Thank you, darling.
The last theory panel ever. This time we mean it. Relatively positive. And we have a panel of distinguished guests. It's going to be a good conversation. Most room already. They're all
oh, it's all Matt's fault.
I started that.
Yeah, it was like, we still get like 4.
Well, we have these other ones that are more rewarded.
So, Matt's very extinguished.
So a couple of announcements before we get started. First, I really expect this to obviously be a pretty full room. So as people come in, if you guys can, make room for them and help them find seats, that'd be great. 2, on the app for the JordanCon, either on iPhone or Droid, there's the opportunity to provide feedback, both for the convention as a whole and also for individual panels. So if you can provide feedback on, what you thought of the topic and the discussion and what you'd recommend for next year, that would be really helpful. Even like on your way home, if you could just go through what you saw and what you'd recommend, that'd be great. And without further ado, we're going to let the panelists introduce themselves, starting with the very recently engaged. Yay! That's it.
Thanks everyone, I am Jeff Daniel from Makepeace, and I do want to let you know the dealer hall is open until 1 o'clock, and we have plenty of the constructs still left for sale, so if you haven't picked up one yet, I would encourage you to. All proceeds from the construct do go to JordanCon. So,
What was the engagement?
last night.
Oh. Matt Hatch, here then.
Thom DeSimone, I'm a member of Tarvalon.net. Just a crazy fan that they let me do crazy stuff like this sometimes.
And the gentleman who was in the prologue
Oh,
that
yeah.
we heard. This is Butcher.
I'm better than Butcher.
I'm Melissa, and I ran for a while Tarvalon.net.
I'm Leigh Butler, and I write the Wheel of Time reread on Tor.com.
Yay, Leigh!
I'm also very hungover right now, so take that as your baseline.
You're not the only one.
I'm sure, I knew I'm not alone. I saw some of you fuckers last night.
Last year I forced you to listen to a theory I had for a lot of it. I apologize now because apparently people didn't like my half an hour of Land Fear stuff. So,
We all read it.
yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys would like to do anything different, but I think last year everybody wanted to be able to throw out their theory and kind of just have us discuss it. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys want to start here first or out there or whatever, but
I have one I can start with that will not take half an hour. Okay. So I am one of those who firmly believes that Jim, in a last effort to surprise us all, is going to have the blood of the rocks on Shaivul being Galad. Being that he's,
His blood,
yeah, I mean, it's his blood. It's basically Galahad. He's not going to survive this, and I just think it would be a very typical twist for that. And since we're doing the whole Arthurian legend anyways, clearly we've got, Rand on a boat with the 3 women. I also kind of think I like the idea that we never find out if Rand lives or dies, that he just goes off on a boat to Tarvalon. Like Arthur goes to Avalon.
See, I just think he cuts his finger on
Ow!
Ow! Damn it!
can opener.
Yeah.
The Galad thing isn't followed by Fael dying and then Perrin marrying.
No.
Yes. You're welcome.
I don't know. I think this. I kind of tend to think that's sort of like a cop out. Like.
Oh, I think it's only a cop-out.
We came here to see Rand freaking bleed on the rocks, man.
Would it be a cop-out if Rand isn't the one who bleeds in the rocks? Who believes that's a cop-out?
Yeah.
I'm going for cop-out.
His children get killed at Shaivul.
Well, but
No, his children survive, we know.
We know his kids survive. And they're like babies. What are they doing there? They're not going to be there. They're going to be like back in Camelot.
Yeah, no, but I mean, we've met his daughter. Anyways. Hadra.
Oh, her.
Yes.
His possible daughter. I mean, like,
Yeah, those weren't
that's only a possible
Yeah, I don't
future.
think those were definite.
I'm just saying.
Theresa.
I was just going to point out while we were talking about blowing the rocks that we have 4 prophecies that say he's going to die, and none of them mention blood on the rocks. So they're kind of separate. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same thing. You know, it's like we know he's going to die, we know he's going to shed his blood, but does it have to be at the same time?
I tend to agree that the two are not related. Like, he's going to bleed on the rocks, but I don't think that's what's going to kill him. And he's going to have some totally other death-related incident.
Yeah, I mean, right, the ideal, it could be the ideal, like their spear to go in shell gold, it could be their blood, this symbolically his blood.
Really? Why?
Go with that.
Why?
Yeah, metaphor, yeah.
Where did they get Shadow Ghoul rocks?
Yeah, they did.
The image for the Dauro made on the black cover.
Right?
Because it appears to have rocks and blood and somebody dead and 3
And a really...
women that kind of look like red that kind of
Okay.
makes you think it might involve that scene.
Oh, you were taking that little red up on the mountain.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, if you look at the beard, there's
The
one
beard,
looks
there's a
like
man
it
on
could be
there.
blood there.
The beard. Well, yeah.
And on the mouth.
Yeah, and on that boat.
By the way, there was an answer that Brandon gave. Does anyone have the exact wording of that answer about the palace? What's the?
Oh yeah, the Titan's palace is made out of shadow rock.
So if you want to, then
The rocks. It doesn't say the rocks
palace?
at Shio Gold. It says the rocks.
Titan's Palace, the one in the Black Tower?
Yeah,
It's made out of shadow rock.
Alright, okay.
What?
I think Brandon's just screwing with us, so we all kind of.
Where the hell did they get the Shadow Ghoul rock to build there? Because that's a really not convenient building material to get.
Where does Brandon get these ideas, by the way?
I think
Terrible
it's
theory.
He's been meeting Mary Leia too much.
Home Depot.
Yes, that adds a nice wrinkle to the whole discussion for the next 8 months, of course.
I question that. I think that's silly.
Turn towards the camera and say that. Brandon,
I think that's silly. Thank you. Okay, so way in the back over there.
I agree with you. I think that's silly simply because it's been stated previously that no channeling is allowed or around Shadow Ghoul. The Dark will smack down anybody who even dares.
Right.
Well, then maybe he had permission.
You need direct permission.
Or maybe he did it with the true power.
Who's daring this channel there?
A lot of songs.
So we went with a pickaxe.
Oh my god, Imagine has to be fighting. Great.
No.
Sorry, wrong panel. But
Wrong
it'd still be
panel.
great.
So does anyone have any theories they want to throw
I
out?
hate her.
Rather than resealing the bore, they're actually going to unbore it by firing Landfear with Galendor, and that'll actually send her back.
3,000 years?
It's going to have a lot of
Oh, that's fantastic!
3,000 years back, the pattern's
I think he said that was
gone.
I know, right? That'll destroy the pattern anyway, so what's the point?
Brands, all of Galendor.
I think Jordan said there wasn't enough power to actually power it back, a balefire, that many years.
Has he tried?
Okay, well, I mean, obviously this is not supposed to be taken seriously, but, you know, Rand balefiring with everything that he had, rewound time and fire time for like, what, 10 minutes?
4 minutes or something like
Yeah,
that.
4 or 5 minutes?
Yeah.
So no. 3,000 years ain't happening.
Oh, yeah.
You are underestimating his desire to balefire his ex-girlfriend, basically.
I think that, I mean,
I'm not
both sides kind of agreed not to use the balefire for the reason of unraveling the whole entire wheel and burning that such as important. Not that she's like good or
She's
anything,
important.
but she's very important, and a lot of very big, large clusters of threads. Burning that back that far might not be a good idea.
No, but I do think that Lanfear has a very important role to play before she bites it.
She lives.
No!
This is someone
Dies.
Can somebody die?
Don't open that can of worms.
Right?
Last time, 30-minute lecture.
This is somewhat loony, but if time flows differently in Teleronriad, if you balefire something there, does it affect how far back it goes?
No, well, balefire has very weird effects in Teleronriad.
Well, Teleronriad doesn't flow backwards from set.
It just kind of flickers.
It flows at a different rate forward, so it's not like it's necessarily going to go back.
Yeah, and we've seen items balefire there that they are gone and then they're back. Yeah, since they're the
Well, I think you were saying like if Lamprey was physically
in Teleronriad.
Physically there, yes.
No.
Here and then there.
If the Dark One's plan is basically to destroy everything anyways, then why are the Chosen resistant to using Hellfire?
Because they're still clutching to the fact that they're not, that there's going to be something afterwards and they could be immortal and live forever. I think that's what I think.
No, that is what they think they're going to be like kings and queens of the world, and they're going to have all this, crazy bling.
They haven't realized yet that he's just going to kill everyone.
Morden's the only one who's like, I'm really the only nihilist in the group, and we're gonna, and I do actually want to end everything because that's how depressed I am.
I'm probably the only one that believes that.
I don't think the Dark One wants the world to end. He will have nothing to screw with then afterwards.
Well, that's the question becomes that answer that Varen says when she's like, so I've been studying him for this long and I can't tell you. I almost think was kind of a nod to the fans of like, kind of like, don't think you know just what you think you know about the Dark One, So I think you're right. I don't think we know necessarily what his mind is. I think we know what everyone else believes his mind to be. But we don't exactly have a POV from the Dark One. It's so cool, right?
Steve, and then we'll go over.
I was just wondering what a very big nose Robert Carlyle and Wendy and Foggy Frank is going to do when he gets there. Because I was like, you have what happened at Dauro, you have the corruption there. I mean, because really, let's just be honest, Bond Fane is just another way. It's just a Zazel in a different form. A demon of corruption. That's all it is. And so, what it is like. I was thinking that maybe the best way to deal with him would be to put him with his old buddy in the giant hole, and then try to lock them both in the hole, or to have to do, or both powers have to come together to stop this, because the reality is it's all it is. It's a corruption of using both powers to create or do something, or using one intent in the to stop another thing, but causing issue. And it's, as long as that thing exists, there's always going to be a problem. I mean, you're not gonna have merger all Trollocs and fogs and winds coming at you at all times. I mean, you can't fight one or the other.
So you're saying that Rand needs Pat Fane to?
I'm saying in order to destroy him, he's probably gonna need more.
Oh, he's going to need more. He's going to need his power to do that.
Yeah,
it's an interesting point that leaving Pat and Fane outside of the war would probably be not just as dangerous, but I mean, the power that he's increasing. That just because you seal the board probably isn't good enough.
Yeah, because it wasn't the board that caused. It wasn't the board that caused all of it. When the waves went corrupt, they went corrupt because of how the taint functioned. And so it screwed with what it had. So it's a bad thing. One thing's a bad reaction to it, and the other thing is bad things done in reaction to something else.
So your theory is Pat and Fane gets sealed up there, or Pat and Fane dies,
or something along those lines.
I think he bites off Rand's finger and falls into a volcano. That's my theory.
Want to go over here?
Okay, I would just just a catch-up question. Do we have the full list of the 9 people who know how to play that chess game that Morgan was talking about yet? It's a pretty specific number. And I'm wondering if I was allowed to say
I always thought you just kind of pulled that out of his,
That's a very specific number.
It is a very specific number, but that only applies to the people who were alive at the time, which is very different from the people who are alive at this point. So I'm not sure it's terribly
maybe a couple more people have learned how to play.
Yeah, maybe they taught what's her guts the that chick.
Oh yeah, her.
The guy in the place.
Yep.
One of the Black Aja how to play.
So
right?
this is another vote for Bobby Fischer?
Bobby Fischer King.
Yes. Bobby Fischer King. 11.
Yes.
Who's next?
That was helpful, wasn't
it? I'm going to go here and then.
All right.
Oh, we're going to see the 70 missing Black Aja bonding with the remaining
Forsaken.
Fun.
Bonzi with the Forsaken?
Well, no, but maybe not with the Forsaken, but with the turned Ashima.
Oh, the turned Ashima.
At
Okay,
the
yeah.
thing.
I think that's going to be a large battle between Logain and Taim and the good forces in the Black Tower and the bad forces in the Black Tower there. That's what I think is going to be.
Who's looking forward to the Black Tower?
And right?
And if it's not in this book, I'm going to be angry.
Yes, that's going to be major, and I'm very much looking forward to that.
Okay.
Yeah. You.
I was actually, Matt, you just mentioned Logain. You think Logain, first of all, he only has like a follower of 5-6 people. Well, is Logain gonna like team up with White Tower?
He's got that shadow glory around him.
Yeah,
that
sure.
We still have to see happen.
You have to also assume that all of the good Ashaman are going to follow him when Rand tells them to. When he goes, all right, go kill Taim.
Right, doesn't Taim have not only his turned dreadlords of like 40 people, but then he's also got the rest of the Black Tower, you know, it's like an 80% majority that are following him. Yeah. And then Taim, or Logain, has his handful of Two Rivers men, and then what?
Well,
like
but
9 good full Ashaman that are out.
He's probably counting on the fact that the Ashaman who do follow Taim when they see what's actually going on. Like, you know, the Dreadlord factory going on.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, maybe not. And
he has rolled a natural 20 in charisma.
Also, a lot of Logain specifically and a few of his followers have been around Rand a lot and watching him weave lots of things. There was the scene of them in the farmhouse.
Yeah, where he does the death gate thing.
Yeah, the death gates and the arrows of fire and all that stuff. And then all of his Ashaman started doing that. So a lot of them know a lot of those weeds. So you have to consider them not just one-to-one.
So he knows something they don't know. He knows something they don't know.
Well, the fun theory that is the fun one now is, so if the palace is made out of rock, does Rand go to the Black Tower and die?
I'm actually interested to find out whether or not that Rand is actually present for that whole thing. Like, is he there, or is that totally like Logain and Androl and Pavara like kicking ass, and then like going to Rand and saying, "Guess what happened while you were gone?"
I did like Androl, big gateway to send the Dark One off. That was
right. Yeah, so we go.
We see Logain stepping over Rand at the Black Tower.
Right. That's the theory.
So I have a pet theory about this. It's one I've been researching for a while. So exactly what you're talking about. Egwene saw that Logain was stepping over Rand's body and he was laughing. And then when Egwene touched Rand's face, it fell apart like paper. Right?
Like a paper.
So this is what I think happens: is that Taim actually puts on the mask he wears, makes himself look like Rand, and is up there addressing the Ashaman. But Logain knows it's not him, right? Because he can see Taverin. So he knows it's not Rand, so he takes him out. And then he steps over his body.
I don't know if it happens that way, but that is a very cool theory.
It should happen that way.
Here you go.
You get a prize.
In support of that theory, something I've talked about for a while is the way that how it falls apart when she touches it. That's precisely the weakness of an illusion weave. Is that if you touch somebody,
you can't touch, right?
Right. So that's there's a strength to that, and I've had various theories.
All right.
Someone had their hand up over here in the middle.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say on the Logain thing was stepping over.
Okay.
We're good.
What about if that stepping over the body is also Rand dies at the last battle, and Logain takes over as the dragon, and Rand kind of fades away in that.
What's the paper
glory,
mask?
Humongous glory.
Well, right. I mean, that has been a theory for a long time. I personally really dislike it because I think that that's really lame that we've been following this guy along for hundreds of books or whatever many there are, and, hundreds of thousands of words for sure. And then he's like, oh, and guess what? He's not really.
But and again, though, Avienda has seen her probable future, or a probable that is maybe more probable, but whatever it is, she saw a future in which her child is known to be the child of the Dragon Reborn, and I don't think she'd be seeing Logan's child.
No, I don't think that would happen. So, but I mean, there's nothing to say. I mean, like, that doesn't necessarily negate the theory because you know it only takes once. You know, and
it would be an awesome
what?
scene. By the way, the Great Hunt that Brandon's been doing, we have some codes that have not been entered yet, and so like Jeff just got one
We
here.
get more tidbits from RJ's notes for that. When you enter them into his website, we get like a little paragraph from RJ's notes. There's been some really interesting things.
So if you do get one of these, please go enter it and then tell somebody what it was, because there are a lot of these actually. The 3 here haven't been entered yet. The rest have been entered. They just have not been told to anyone. And what they are is chapter. I think they're like folder titles or whatever they are. Like,
There's a lot of them.
yeah, there's like cleaning silk. Apparently, he has a folder on it. Horses and endurance.
This does not surprise me in the least. That's Fail
Can't
and
clean silk.
the forever chapter of this is how you clean silk.
You don't clean silk. You throw it away and buy a new one.
All right. Well, we're assuming that Logain is in good health right now because one of his comrades, Minze, showed up with possessed eyes and all that, and it's a good assumption that Logain is going to be a target, seeing that Taim doesn't care for him that much. So I have a theory, kind of, that right now he's either a captive or being experimented on in some way, and he's going to need some help from someone. Logain at the
Logan's
tower.
going to be saved first.
Yeah, I think he's.
I'm trying to remember.
And we haven't seen him in a while, and they've said he's been missing a few weeks.
But he was missing because he was with Rand.
Oh,
yeah. I was infiltrated.
Rand hasn't seen him in a while.
Actually, it's a little bit more complicated than that because we haven't seen Logain since they captured Cimaraj, and we know that Rand gave him orders. We don't know what the orders were. We haven't. That's been more than a month, way more than a month, 2 months now. So
Logan's been doing something.
Yeah, at the time he had all of his Ashman and Aes Sedai with him, and now some of the Aes Sedai are back at the Black Tower. So we know he went back and then left again. So.
You went to the Isle of
And
Madman and
then-
a bunch of forces.
And then Mazar came back and got turned. So yeah.
No,
So,
he's doing something.
right. Yeah, I mean he's planning something. Clearly.
Very sneaky.
Logain is the Mandra. No, I'm just kidding.
I will cut you, man.
There was somebody in the back.
Yes, we're talking about how Logain had the aura of greatness around him.
Right.
Throughout the series, we've been hearing about how important and how honorable it is to be the arm of the state. So, if Logain right now, Rand is sort of the leader of the Black Tower. So, if Logain becomes the honorable leader of the Black Tower, wouldn't that be a very glorifying destiny for him?
Well, right, if he becomes like the Mahale after he kills Taim a lot, he would be kind of, I mean, theoretically equivalent to Egwene's status.
Yeah. Does everyone agree with that theory? Logain's going to kill Taim? Is that a...
That's pretty good. That was pretty solid, man.
Hell to the yeah.
Lots of head shaking, which means Jordan, no. So, I've been there, and it's going to hurt.
You're gonna have to look in the glossary for that one.
The glossary.
Yeah, so
Does anyone have something else to say on that? Okay.
I think what's relevant here is way back in the Eye of the World, at the end of it, when it's the one. Okay, so more, as Rand is going to tell Rayab at the end to kill one of the Forsaken, and it's the actual voice of the Creator. And Marine says just ahead of time, if I knew this could happen, but it's impossible. But the Creator, Rand, and it's like all in caps,
That was
and
the dark
Rand
one.
says, I forget the exact wording, but it's like, am I going to be the one to do this? And the Creator's voice says, no, another one's been chosen if he wants to take on that role. And in my mind, it's always been clear to me that was going to be Logain. So it's like, you go back to the Eye of the World, exactly, I can't give you the exact quote, but I think that's the wrong.
I will take no part. Only the
I don't even think that we can be certain that that was the Creator.
Yeah, that could have been the Dark One.
And even if it was, there's nothing in the wording to say that Rand is not the chosen one.
Well,
It's a possibility. It's not completely implausible.
Well, and now we have we have Rand and help me the one who's what? No, the Forsaken that like is now Morden. Thank you. So I mean. That something very clever is going to happen there. I just don't know what it is.
I totally reject that whole theory. Just because I'm generally coming at it from a more, I guess, literary or thematic kind of viewpoint. I mean, not a practical one, which is that for the story, for the sake of the story, to have Logain be the one ending up doing it is just. I don't buy that. I mean, it has to be Rand simply because Rand is the protagonist of the story.
Yeah.
You know, like.
That voice is actually the voice of the creator.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was. I mean, at the same time, the Eye of the World again is kind of an anomaly.
It is anachronistic.
It's anomaly across the board because when. And again, I'm looking at it from a literary standpoint, which is that that was the first thing that he wrote, and I don't think that it's very clear in retrospect that he didn't have everything worked out about his world, about the world of the Wheel of Time and everything when he wrote it. And I do think it's significant that it's the only time we've ever heard the creator speak.
Also, the old tongue was totally different.
Yeah, well, but I mean, I think he backpedaled from that in the future of writing it, but at the time, you know, that was a very different thing. So I do think it was the creator speaking.
Oh, isn't that the only time we see an Aes Sedai using the staff?
Yeah, the staff. There were a lot of things that happened in the Eye of the World that never happened again. Yeah. So that's a. I mean, I don't think that that's necessarily a good indicator of what is and what is not. You know, legit. Yeah. I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah, here and then we'll go back there.
You. No, it was just to add on to all that. It was just one quick thing. You remember Shaman talked about Tamerlan Seed, how you had the one person above all before that. It would probably just end up happening is you'll have, Wayne on one side and Logain on the other, and just make some sort of balance because the dragon used to rule over all that anyway. And
it wasn't necessarily that it had to be that he was in charge of the Aes Sedai at the time. I think because they talk about the Nine Rods Dominion and those were the governors. Well, those were the governors.
There's that number again.
Yeah, I think those were the governors of the city-states of the entire world, and he was able to summon them to him to do his bidding. So he was kind of like the president of the world, not just the Aes Sedai. He was the government. He was the leader of the government.
The dragon rules the world. How he ran out the king of the world. It's like that's like kind of a non-issue. You also have the stewards of the dragon popping up over huge territories of land. Perrin is one, some of the other kings and whatnot is others. And they're saying that though for Logain to have that kind of glory would be to bring down Tying, stop the Dreadlord fighting that's happening over there, and to create some sort of balance between one point of power that is here and one point of power that is here. And then bring both of these positions of power together so that one can be legitimate and not under the throne of Endor, and other. Sorry about that. But the other can be, and they can both work together and to stop, and it can somewhat start to heal it and start ending a lot of the stupid old historical conflict due to misunderstandings of what happened 3,000 years ago.
Yeah. Want to comment about that?
Well, yeah, I was just going to say about that because the big white book makes it clear that the ruler of the Aes Sedai was not the ruler of the world, that it was separate powers. Yeah. But toward the end of the War of Power, they gave him that power, and it was really unprecedented.
There was checks and balances in place against him.
Yeah, it was really unprecedented that he got that much power.
So he was like emergency dictator kind of.
Right, and I think that maybe the Amelin's war powers might come from that. Like a remembrance.
The rule of law,
the dictator thing.
Question for the panel about the Logain hanging thing. Do y'all think that Logain, talking about the Death Gates and powers and all that, do you think Logain will go in with like a special forces strike force of Osherman, or it'll be more like the Monty Wells, where you've got this conglomerate army of all these different groups that he's leading into.
I think it'll be a little mixture of both, kind of. I think he'll try to start off with it being like that, but even if he goes in and sneaks in and kills Taim, there's way too many forcibly turned people there for it to just stay that small.
I kind of tend to think that it's going to end up being the same thing as what happened in the tower, which is that most of the Dark Friend Ashaman are going to escape and go, and then the light side people are going to have to face them all at the last battle. So I think that what's going to happen, personally, is that Andro and Pavara are going to expose the whole thing, and everyone's going to be like, okay, bye-bye, and then they're going to run rather than fight at the Black Tower. And then the actual real showdown is going to happen, on the fields of Marilor, or something that doesn't sound like Tolkien.
How many here think that Andro's eventually going to be able to make a gateway, even though the Dream Spike is preventing him?
That talent is too specific. It's got to be used for that.
Yeah. It was way too.
It's one of those moments where Ishmael's like, what the hell? This should not be possible.
Maybe if you can get it circle, they'll be able to.
They keep doing so many things that are impossible to foresee.
We'll have to wait.
Succeed in making a gateway when he gets a linked circle to back him up.
There you go.
I thought it was like he was making some.
Well, that's the whole point of his alliance with Pavara is because only you can't form a circle without women. So that's the
damn straight, Skippy.
And so that's the whole point of that.
Does anyone else have a new theory?
I don't know what's been addressed before. Anybody think someone else is going to be back?
Samael? No.
He's Balefire.
He's done. Well, he wasn't Balefire, but he was killed by Mashadar.
Yeah, he was killed by Mashadar.
Well, but Jordan said in so many words, he's toast.
He's toast.
Yeah. So it's no.
He's not coming back.
He's not Balefire.
He was also one of the least interesting Forsaken, in
Yeah.
my opinion. Like, I still think Grendel is the most dangerous of them.
Yeah.
But that's just
Lanfear is the most dangerous of them.
Potentially to rank.
I still think that Morden's just gonna get really depressed and kill himself.
And
Question for all of you guys. There was much made in one of the books about Avienda and her ability to weave and unweave things. I thought this might have something to do with sealing the floor. Whether she does it in Shao-Gul or Tolerant Riyadh or some.
To read into the weaves?
She
unweaves things.
She either clears the rubble or she reweaves it shut.
Oh. Well, I mean, I think a lot of people pretty much assume that the Kalendor circle is going to be Rand, Avienda, and Elaine. Well, I mean, I still like there was a whole bunch of people talking at some point. I think probably in the Looney Theory panel, or no, it was the Who Lives Who Dies panel. Was talking about the whole issue of Elaine being pregnant and not being able to channel correctly, and there were people who were saying things about like, oh, that was you, about going to Teleron Riyadh and
well, I just
speeding
recently
up the pregnancy.
discovered the legend of Boann and the Dagda. It's Irish
Yeah, right.
folklore. Right, and what they did is, they had an affair, and in order to cover up their affair, they stopped the sun so that she could conceive her child and give birth to him on the same day. And it was actually 9 months that happened on one day. And there's a lot of Boann and the Dagda foreshadowing tied in with Rand's death. Like, for one thing, Simaraj's third name was Boann. And then we have Dagdara, who is a yellow and a healer. So we have the healing thing, right, with the name parallels there. And then it's all tied in with some foreshadowing of Rand's death. Like, To Boanda has foreshadowing of Rand's death, the name of the chapter. And it's just, so it's very possible that Elaine will actually give birth. I used to think it was a Looney Theory, but I'm starting to change my mind.
Also, she only has to just touch Sidar, and then can and then link with the circle, and then they can just use her. She doesn't actually have to weave anything. As long
Right,
as
like she
embrace the
can
source.
do it.
Yeah.
It's like it's not that. It's
As
not
long as she can embrace the
possible.
source, they can use her. That's,
Right.
she doesn't actually have to do anything.
But he actually says, I want Nynaeve, and I think I want out the end. He doesn't know the knife for base meaning for it.
Well, it would probably make more sense to use Nynaeve because she's the much more powerful. She's a much more powerful channeler.
Yeah.
So why were we talking about that exactly? Oh, the weaving of the boar and Abienda.
Yeah.
Because it is true that in the way they set it up, one of the women has to be leading the circle, and it can't be Rand. So that's why I always. But that again, I'm coming at it from a thematic point of view, is that that doesn't make a lot of sense to me because it needs to be Rand. So
Men and women working together.
Well, it's working together, but at the same time, it's sort of lopsided that way.
To
And
come
so
full circle again, Luthar and Rand has to reseal the board right at this time.
You also had, Avienda shows the unweaving, so then we get Elaine trying to do the unweaving, and that gives us our weapon, supposed weapon for the Shanchan.
Well,
that
Elaine-
may be the only purpose of that right there.
I don't know. Elaine basically blew shit up when she
Right.
tried it. So I don't know.
I'd love to see it for that.
Again, her children are going to be strange somehow, so that should happen.
They're pre-born. They're more than babies.
I don't think Calendar is even going to be involved. It's going to be a part of the book, maybe towards the end, but I don't think it's going to be the full. Well, it's going to be a full part. I don't think it's going to be at the last battle. Because, like you said, it's got to be led by a woman. Yeah, it's not going to say
Well,
the day. It's
but
something else.
My personal theory about it is that whenever Min's on the verge of discovering something very important that's going to help Rand, and my personal, I guess it's sort of a loony theory, is that she's going to discover a way for him to use Calendar safely by himself, that he doesn't have to use in a circle. But that's just me. I made that up, so it could be completely wrong. But that's my theory because I just think that again, thematically, he does have to end up facing the Dark One alone. So yeah,
There's just a part of me that wants so badly for Jim to have just that's over. That Excalibur wasn't the sword that was pulled out of the stone. And he pulled that one out of the stone, and he did it. He used it as a stun. That's not what's going to happen, but
so you don't think that he's going to have Calendar with him?
Oh no, he will, but I want him to not. I just want to be like, yes, and we pulled it from the stone. We used it this one time. That's great. And then a watery tart will throw him his real sword.
That is no basis for a system of government.
My question is, with the latest book and with all the discussion going on about the next one, do we yet have any idea who Diamond Red is? Any idea?
We still don't freaking know.
There's no definite.
File. That way I can kill her with fire.
Which is going to make Karen have nightmares.
That would be hilarious if that turned out to be true.
Yeah, the closest thing to proof would be the King of Mirror.
The who what?
King of Mirror.
Oh, Rodrin?
I don't like it.
I don't like that one either. Right? Nakomi. It's Nakomi. What?
He's either Rodin or himself.
Well, I personally don't think he's anyone. I personally think he's just been tooling around being like, I'm Demandred, yo.
That's what I thought
Or he's
until
over.
Brandon said something that...
No.
Because it was an assumption for Brandon that he was somebody, so he didn't think he was revealing something by telling us that we will find out who he is.
No, because he said, can you figure out who he is and what we know? And he said, well, maybe, but you wouldn't expect. I don't know. He said something to the effect of
Well, he modified his answer after I told him that he kind of slipped up. He modified his answer, but it was too late.
I mean, I'd love to find out he was just Demanded the entire time.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think he's been
Jordan's
Demanded
totally
the entire
loving
time.
the fact that we wanted him to be somebody.
He's like, he's no. I mean, I really do think he's been totally off screen the entire time. We've never seen him, and he's been off in Shara or something, raising an army. And the first time we see him is when he brings crazy foreign people here to fight on his side. And
I'll share my favorite my own pet theory about this is I don't want to see Rand against Ishmael again, honestly, because it's boring to me, thematically. It's just like, oh, they're fighting again, yay! So I would love to know that Demandred this entire time has taken the Dark One at his word, and that Demandred really believes the Dark One's purpose is that he will be nameless, and not that Ishmael is his tool that the Dark One's been using for a long time. Because Ishmael is just kind of this guy, like he's all in, and the Dark One doesn't have to work for him. But the Demandred has been planning this entire time to take over Ishmael and to kill him, and that is to plant him as nameless and to bring the Dark One. I mean, in essence, kill Rand and Ishmael. So my hope, and it's a false hope probably, that Demandred will kill Ishmael in this last book.
But I think it's solid to believe that he wants to.
Well, they all want to. I mean, like, they all want to kill him. They all want to be nameless. So that nameless.
What do we know about? I haven't read books in a while. What do we know about where Demandred is?
Nothing.
We don't. I mean, like that's
He's marshaling his forces in the south.
Well, the clearest indication we've ever got is Samael's thought that events in the south had Demandred's mark all over them. He had always liked using proxies. That's like the only.
And then when he says, "I'm marshaling and I'm in the south," getting.
Yeah, and at the time, everything was south of them.
I was just gonna say, it's like maybe Shanshan.
No, but it's a rule. He says his rule is secure.
But
right?
Samaraj
We do know he was supposed to be watching Rand on the Fosencar. He's supposed to be watching Rand.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. Yeah. So again, I think it's all a red herring, and he was really like, in Vegas the whole time.
Anyone have anything not on Demandred? We'll go here first because he hasn't said anything.
I was just wondering what you guys thought about having the Empress, I can't remember her name, Tuan being both seeing herself as the most important person in the world, and at the same time being able to have everybody think of her as property, being able to channel. Do you think that will have any kind of consequences in the last book, or do you think that's just kind of off to the side?
Well, I do think that the Shanshan are going to have to do a come to Jesus moment, no pun intended, with the whole concept of Damane and the fact that I was really startled a little bit that when apparently Tuan found out that she could learn to channel, and that's what being a Soldam meant.
Yeah.
And then she was like, well, yeah, but I'm never going to do it, so it doesn't count. And I was like, okay, so you're just cool with that then?
Yeah.
But I do think there is going to be some kind of deal there, because they're going to, because there's Egwene's dream about the Shanshan woman helping her up the cliff and everything, and so there is going to have to be some kind of détente. And without some kind of giving ground there, I don't think that's going to be possible. So I do think that there is going to be kind of like okay, maybe not.
I expect to be greatly disappointed by how much is not tied up. I mean, we
laid
this stuff out, and it's kind of like
there's going to be a
unless
lot
it's like 5 pages,
and I think that's one of the things that will not.
That's not what.
Okay, we're getting rid of the slavery, we're done, and then moves on. There's just
and there's just too many people to play a pivotal role in everything that happens that I don't think we're going to see Tuan too much.
Or to release the
she'll be there, and she'll be in charge of the Shanshan forces, but she's not going to be like
I think
the
we have
keystone
to see
for something.
on the premises of bind the 9 moons to me and bow to her. I think that has to be in there somewhere.
It's going to take like 2 pages.
It's got to be there.
I'm hoping it's more than a token.
Yeah, and I would really prefer to do that. The other thing, all too often I see all the people who are going like at the demonic and that. But I really think we're going to have to see something also about Dakavale. I really don't.
About what?
Dakavale.
The Dakavale?
Property.
I want to see Matt take it out
The
of
lighter form of slavery.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, Matt and a date night, like Karen got one on the hill. Matt needs to have a date night.
Because they have not yet consummated their marriage, which means that the two are not yet as one.
Well,
so they just now need to go make their own snowy glue.
Yeah. There needs to be some sexy times.
Well, hey, I mean, she was really surprised with kissing.
Probably the other wants to change stuff.
There you go. What about Darren saying it's not going to be fun? What do you think it is?
Yeah.
More snowy blues.
I think she was talking to us just as much as everybody else.
That's what I'm hoping. I really want to be surprised. Not just like
Her conclusion of her story was so rad. It was so great.
Basically, it's not just going to be two forces standing on either side of a battlefield battling it out.
Well, I think there's going to be there. That is going to happen.
Logan's
And I don't think that that's going to be.
You know, Brand's gonna go get rid of the dark tame. Sorry, I like tame still. Get rid of the dark one. It's all gonna be. I mean, I'm hoping there's something. I'm hoping there's like. I want to be shocked. I want to be surprised.
I was just gonna say that we have like a bunch. We have Baron's research and Minze research and stuff, and I was thinking like at the end of Dragon Moon, Lew Therin died fully clothed with all his adornments on. He's like, do we think that maybe there's something he and Liana had on?
He didn't die. He got struck by a bolt of lightning with all of his power.
Okay, he blew himself up and transformed himself into a giant hunk of rock that is constantly.
So like they're gonna go there
The
and
rock was just kind of pulled up by
yeah, I mean, he pretty much melted the ground under him and it came up over. I mean, you know, it's not like he was destroyed, not in that sense.
Pretty sure his clothes didn't make it.
I don't think it's
Well,
close.
yeah, but see, all joking aside, his clothes, blah. We know that to some extent or another, most Terrarial can't be killed outside of, you know, a giant evil hand giving you his power. Now, it's,
no, you can destroy most of Terrarial.
Well, things made of windy on whatnot.
Except them,
I
don't think he had any on.
There's some things that are very durable. A lot of things that survive because of how durable they were.
I just think it is too improbable as a last minute thing to throw
That's
in.
not really a last minute thing.
We've also seen very, very few things that survived from the Age of Legends that were not in stasis cubes or vacuoles or something of that sort.
I'm just saying though, this is the one, but this is one thing that's been solid. I think that you know you know that Dragon Mountain happened. There's a mountain. There's a dude and a lady buried under the mountain.
So you think he's
okay?
He's
So
gonna go back to Dragon
Yeah, and I'm
Mountain?
saying like stuff. You know, it's like
Maybe
if you think
Dena
about
goes there, finds it, and then he's like,
I'm gonna use
somewhere.
I don't remember him taking her, but
he didn't.
There's either okay, then there's a big Liam Neeson looking guy at the bottom of the mountain. Either which way,
but
you know the dragon's there.
I'm gonna use her thematically. I don't think that works. He's already went to Dragon Mountain. Dragon Mountain has been used for what it was supposed to be used for.
He's done that.
And
It's gone. It's over. He's not going back there.
But I'm not saying
not
in
going
that
back
way. Like he's not going to go there and cry for.
No, he's not. I don't think he's
No, I don't think he's going.
No, I don't think he's ever going to go near.
About his inability to grow the hell up. Now it's like, look, you know, he's gonna. I'm just saying, like, you know, you can have somebody find something in Tarvalin in the underneath, you know, there. But I'm saying that since you have thing A, which is a landmark, I'm just saying that like Lew Therin might have something.
I totally understand where you're coming from, but I must say, if that is the Deus Ex Machina, I will be very upset.
I mean, if you're going to do a Chekhov's gun, you got to show it to us a lot more than that.
I do like Jeff's theory, though. It goes along with Leigh's, where Morden will commit suicide and create death.
I'm like, he's so emo. Come on, you know, it's
Okay, so we have again, Club. We got
Okay.
theories. I mean, the questions are fun too. But are there any theories out here that you guys got that you think are?
This guy's had his hand up for a long time.
Wait.
In the back.
Go ahead.
Dude in the purple
The
shirt.
town crier.
This guy.
Go ahead.
One big, question and a theory about a possible answer for it. One big question I've had for a while is, what is the title "A Memory of Light" a reference to? And my guess is that Moradin, remembering light, and
Exactly. He's like, I remember light.
It's still.
It's my theory.
You got to remember, Morgan was still. If they unstill him, he can't have a memory of life. Morgan, Shamael, I'm sorry.
Morden's not still.
Shamael, didn't they still, didn't they, before he sat in front of the hall, or he was shielded or something in front of the hall of servants?
Nope. Okay,
too far down the star road.
White shirt dude.
White shirt dude.
Yeah, the exact same thing. I believe that this story is being told. It's a wheel. It's the same story. I believe we are hearing this story because the wheel is going to break. We are going to have a linear
Yeah, that is a popular theory, which I really don't like. Personally. But
either the Dark One wins or the Dark One Rand does crazy things and finds a way to kill the Dark One.
Yeah, that was one of my Looney theories from last year. Was him killing the light breaking the wheel and him killing the Dark One and time being linear from there on. That was a Looney theory though. That was. All right, let's go in the back and keep side talk to the little quiet that's sitting there. No, the one that hat.
Black hat dude.
Black hat dude.
Black hat dude.
All right, so along those lines of, do you think, sort of the question, and I can throw out one theory after that, I guess, do you think having Thane, the interactions with him,
Yeah, we did talk about that a few minutes. I'll touch it. I guess you weren't here for that, but
yeah, sorry.
I think we agreed that no, he's not. I don't think he's going to be a keystone in sealing the board. I don't think so.
No, I don't think he has anything to do with sealing the board, but I think he's.
I think he's gonna have a major effect on the last battle.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
But like
Mashadar creeping up.
the Mashadar and all that stuff.
Trolls, yeah.
And I think he's gonna. It's a equal chance for whether he's gonna be more trouble for the light side or the dark side.
Yeah. Because he hates the Dark One as much as he hates Rand.
Yeah, because he hates everybody.
I
So,
anticipate that he takes out Shadowheart and he's waiting for Rand. But maybe
I don't know about that one, but
anyone have something new? Anybody?
Well, I kind of have a question on your guys' theory as to how the horn is going to play into the last battle, and if it's going to be like Falk, where Rand's interactions are directly related to how well the heroes do, or if it's going to be completely disconnected.
Again, thematically, we saw that already. Why are we going to do that again? But I think that'll be used. Who's going to blow it is the better theory.
No, it's
it has to be Matt, but Matt's not bound to it anymore because he died.
Well, they never established
it, but that's again that's another theory that's flying around out there.
Well,
Since this is a theory panel.
We also have to look at the geography of what's going on, because we have Andor, the Trollocs are attacking right now, and then the Horn could be in the tower.
No, the horn is in the tower, and again, thematically, Matt has already stated his intention to go and get it.
Yes.
So, he's being like, y'all got something of mine, I need it back, and I. So it's a Chekhov's gun thing. It's there. It has to happen.
Is it? When you say it is there?
Yeah.
100% sure it's there.
What? Yeah. The tower.
Because there is a theory that Baron took it to the Two Rivers when she went there, and Alana was with her, right? And the last time we saw Alana, she was in the Stone of Tyr, and she disappeared. We don't know where she went, but Baron left her a note.
Oh, she wouldn't know.
Well, that is interesting.
And then a lot of Aes Sedai from the White Tower went to the fields of Merrilor. So they could have brought it with them. They probably know that needs to be there for the last battle.
But regardless of where the horn actually is, I think that regardless of where it is, I still think it is going to be Matt who blows it.
Yeah. We also have one more variable with the horn, because it's always tied to Ilion, but the horn hasn't been to Ilion yet. So I think in some way it's got to go there, and I think that's where Matt.
I don't know. I don't think it necessarily is.
Yeah, that would be Rand versus Tuan, because that's the order of their
right there.
It would have to be that.
So you think the horn? So you suggested that the horn is going to be used against the Shanshan?
Yeah. Why else would they take it to?
Maybe it's used with the Shanshan to then have something to do with the kneeling, because they
I'm sure they'll work it all out.
Well, because the heroes coming in, obviously, maybe they have some type of.
I mean, if Hawkwind shows up and
They got Hawkwind to tell Tuan.
That's what I'm saying. Hawkwind involved with Tuan, involved with Ilion.
That's kind of almost too easy.
But
I mean, that seems a little.
At this point, a lot of stuff is too easy. He's just going to blow the horn to have Hawkwind come out to talk to Tuan like that.
Will you talk to your son? Would you tell your kids to like shower?
Wise up.
This is awesome. Tell her to wise up, please.
Oh god, that's great!
That would be hilarious.
I'm sorry.
Will you just talk to her?
Put some sense into that one. All right. 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
This is assuming, though, that we're going to have a single, I guess, demarcation line to constitute
the front in the last battle. There's nothing saying that the Dark One's forces can't just attack all over the place. I mean, so that doesn't mean if the horn's associated with Ilion, it doesn't mean it's not going to be needed there in to throw back a potential Trolloc incursion.
It can blow anywhere.
Yeah. So you
They can
have
blow it in Ilion, and then go to Cayman, and then go to Borderlands, and then, I mean, they can take it anywhere.
Yeah, that's good.
I have two.
Quick.
The Xiangshan take over the White Tower because they're planning to attack that. And then when Matt goes to get the horn, they have a big fight, and then he's able to get the horn, but he sneaks in and he's able to get the horn, but the tower is still being held by the Xiangshan, and he uses the 100 heroes or whatever it is to help defeat them and take back the tower.
I think the Shanshan are going to rule Randland in the future. I think they are the next government that's coming in. They're yeah.
I reject that theory. I don't like that.
RJ was a monarchist by his own words. He thinks that's the best form of government.
A benevolent monarchy is the most effective form.
No,
of
it's not the
government.
most effective. It's just the most stable. That's
And if they get out of control, blow the horn and have Coleman come in and dispute it.
I don't like that at all.
Helping spank your granddaughter.
Any other theories you want to throw out? New ones. We got lots of these. Yeah.
Actually, one about the horn, one last one.
Okay, make it quick.
Is Julian will blow the horn because the Great Hunt, wasn't he confronted by Arthur and said there's always room for another one?
Urine.
Okay, I'm sorry, my mistake.
Huron blows the horn.
So you think Huron's going to blow the horn? Is that what you're
Right,
saying?
and that'll tie him to the hero.
That's being tied to the horn and blowing it are two different things. You know.
I understand that, but by blowing it, he enters the history books of the horn.
That's gonna.
I wish it was dying.
If they were already tied to the horn, and then now they're alive and born, they're not gonna they already are tied to the horn. So if they're heroes already, if Herman is a hero, is that like kind of what you're saying? Then he's already tied to it. We won't see him really because he's alive.
Right.
Well, I was just simply saying that he will, after his death, under whatever circumstances, that he will blow the horn, and that will make him legendary hero enough that he'll go through the ages being known as the trumpeter or whatever. You know, he's got the
Any other?
All right.
Last one right here.
What about Brigitte in relation to the horn? Does she get pulled back as soon as the horn's blown? Does she get pulled kind of into the whole heroes thing, or does she stay ripped out?
I think she'll stay ripped out.
She'll stay ripped out. She was ripped out. She was torn away. That's all. Like,
But can the power, even of Forsaken, actually do more than the power of the horn? I think the power of the horn is much bigger.
That wouldn't bother me. I'll be honest. That would not bother me because the metaphysics do not. I mean, what happened to her? It would not bother me that the Girl was capable of pulling that thing. There's nothing. It would not seem crazy.
I don't think the horn is so very fundamental that it's not possible for Forsaken's power to break it.
And I think it's to call back, the dead heroes of the horn, and she's not dead right now.
She really made something happen. I mean, that's the power. I mean, she gave birth through Televanga. I mean, that's pretty fundamental. I mean, for what Morgan, Brigitte was never supposed to live. And we don't even know what was going to happen. Like, it can't just be like, I'm going to keep you out in the real world until you die for 2 seconds here and jump back here. I mean, Moghedien had to have believed that this was going to destroy Brigitte. And the only reason we have her is because of the bonding that's kept her. So the idea that Brigitte can just die and go back and be a hero, and that's the stupidest trick that Moghedien ever decided to play on.
Who said Moghedien really knew what was going to happen?
It was confirmed that she is still tied to the wheel and still tied to Gaidal. She sees multiple lives for Brigitte. She's tied to Gaidal and all of them.
Sure.
And now she's older instead of younger. She's always been younger before. But because of that, we know she's still tied to it. And that is what lets men know that the consequences for ripping Rand out are bad. You know, because we know that Brigitte is still time. You know.
It's good for connection.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
the foreshadowing. Yeah, it's part of it. It's absolutely a part of it.
I still don't believe that theory is true about being ripped out of Tellerania.
She comes back.
Wait, say it again.
Brigitte dies in battle. You know, at some point in the book, and later the horn is sounded, and she comes back.
Yeah, I always saw it as she got torn out from the get-go, but there was nothing standing in her way from earning her way back.
Yeah, but if she did that, then she would be born like normal, and men's feelings would be untrue because she's got to be older than God all. So we know that's not.
Most battles are.
But there's so many ages. I mean, I think that being tied to it doesn't mean it has to happen this time and this turning. It just means that, you know, it will happen the next time it comes around.
Why would she be older than him? Yeah, I don't know. I was just going to say that Brandon recently said that there are a lot of things about the horn that totally blew his preconceptions about how it worked, and that we're going to find out about that in the last book. He said that a few minutes ago.
There you go.
Ooh. So.
Bravo.
All right. Go get Carpenter done. Yeah.
Next year.
Well, yeah, thank you guys.
Yay,
That was awesome.
thank you all.
Real quick before you go. One, the dealer's room is still open for another half hour, so now's your last chance. Two, again, please provide feedback through the app.